What's going on? What's going on? What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? The boy, the historian. We got to get to it. It's a couple of trades. We got a quick pop-up show. I'm not going to be on too long today, but we got a few things that we're going to bring your way and we're going to talk about, and we got to put some noise out here for you guys and a possibility. So sit back, relax. We got you covered. It's the Birdcage. Let's go.
Okay, y'all, this is it.
What's going on? What's going on, good people? You know how we do it. Today is Magical Monday. But outside of it being called Magical Monday, happy birthday to these boys right here. The Atlanta Falcons 60 years ago became a franchise in the NFL. We've been rooting for these birds for 60 years and hoping for a championship soon, but we haven't had the opportunity to have one. We had one years ago that should have been ours, but guess what? We gave up the drones. But you know what? We're not going to relive that. Happy birthday to the team that myself, the fans, the magnificent Birdcage crew, we all pull for. It's them dirty birds, baby. So happy birthday to the Falcons. Happy belated birthday. Yesterday was the legendary Claude Humphrey's birthday. Hall of Famer, Falcons legend, Tennessee State legend, HBCU Hall of Famer, and NFL Hall of Famer, Mr. Claude Humphrey. Thank you for all the great memories. May you still rest in peace, sir. We appreciate everything that you've done. Now, let's go ahead and get to it, man. We see that the Dolphins have made a trade for Minkah Fitzpatrick. They gave up Jonnu Smith, and they also gave up Jalen Ramsey, and the Dolphins received some picks as well with Minkah Fitzpatrick. Let's be honest, folks. At this point of their careers, we weren't going to get Jalen Ramsey. There was talks of it, but they were not going to invest in Ramsey and put that type of money or effort towards someone who's really at the tail end of their career. We all thought that he could actually bring some veteran leadership to the room and championship pedigree, but the organization decided to go in a different direction and just let him go. So Pittsburgh gets him. Now he also reunites. So they also reunite Jonnu Smith with Arthur Smith. This is the third time that they've been together in their career. The first time was in Tennessee, second time was in Atlanta, and now you have them going back to each other in Pittsburgh. So we'll see if they can actually get that offense moving because, again, Arthur Smith definitely is a quarterback killer. You're bringing him in with a proven quarterback in Aaron Rodgers, who's really at the end of his career at this point. But the topic at hand is this. Are you willing to trade Kyle Pitts at this point? Are you willing to get something for him at this point? Are you willing to just sit back, let him stay, and see what you're going to do? This is my question. Are you going to be in a position to where you're going to at least allow him a year to try to develop with Michael Penix Jr.? Has a quarterback, yes. Everybody wants to say Kirk was bad, but let's be honest. Kirk had us in a position before Penix took over to win the division. we didn't really use Penny. We really didn't use Pitts like that. If you sit back and you look at his stats and his numbers, last year Pitts had 602 yards off of 47 receptions. The most that he's had in his career was his rookie year with Matt Ryan, where he only had Cordell Patterson, Russell Gage in that offense. He had 68 targets for 1,026 yards. He averaged 15 yards per attempt, per average of reception, and 1 touchdown. Now, when you look at 2022, ends up getting hurt, 28 receptions for only 356 yards, but still consistently has a 12-yard average. And the average doesn't change. He's had a 12-yard average since 2022. That's pretty much stayed the same. He had 2 touchdowns that year. Last year, 2023, 53 receptions, 667, 12 yards a catch, 3 touchdowns. This year, averaged 12.8 yards per catch. And then he has 4 touchdowns on 47 receptions. Here's the other thing that no one wants to talk about. No one talks about the drops either. Everyone wants to talk about the full potential. Now, we all want to sit back and say who's going to be the replacement. I've already said who I believe the replacement is going to be. Because, look, you start Pitts as a rookie. I don't want to hear that BS like, oh, so-and-so's not ready. Joshua Simon will eventually be his replacement. That's production that you can't put out there. Joshua Simon's a dog. Look at the footage. You got Charlie Warner that's still here. Fitzpatrick's gone to Green Bay. But, again, Charlie Warner hasn't been really used in the NFL as a pass catcher, even though Georgia Bulldog fans know this kid, he can actually catch, and he actually definitely is strong at the point of attack and actually can get open. Now, they've been using him as a blocker, whether it's in run blocking or pass blocking, because of the fact that he thrives in that. That was one of the strong suits of his game. And Mike Shanahan pretty much expounded upon that. And let's be honest, you had George Kittle that was there. George Kittle's a hell of a blocker, but he's also a great pass catcher, and he's also a great route runner. So Kittle was going to get the ball the most because he also had money. So at this point, I look at it like this. If you're willing to shake up things on your team, everybody's saying, well, what if they're not comfortable with this or not comfortable with that? Here's my thing. If we're going to use Kyle Pitts this year, we need to use him in the red zone. He was misused last year by Zach Robinson. Hell, we can say Tyler Algier was misused last year. Tyler should have been touching the ball a hell of a lot more than he did. So what gives you the belief that they're going to use Pitts in this situation and they're going to get him his production? I understand that he's a former first-round pick. I get it. But at the same time, we've seen former first-round picks get shipped off. Hell, we have a former first-round pick as a cornerback that was a top-tier player, Mike Hughes. Hughes couldn't stay healthy. Hughes was not the same for a period of time. That's why he bounced around. If you look at the explosion from Kyle Pitts, you see flashes of it, but it's not consistent. Let's be real on this. A lot of people don't like the fact that you got half the – it's kind of split. I'll be honest with you. It's split with the fan base. You got fans that want Pitts to go. You got fans that want to say, no, give him a chance. Do this here. You have 2 sides of the coin. Everybody is split at this point. Let's be honest. I'll be honest with you on this. I think this fan base is split just like it was when Matt Ryan came in here and replaced Michael Vick. It's split just like that. There's going to be an ongoing argument because you got people that are Pitts fans that are hoping for the potential to grow. Then you have the fans that want him to go, and they've seen 3 years of this dude. Just saying. 1 year's injury. I understand. But we have tons of weapons at this point that they're going to spread it around. I get and I understand it. We got a quarterback who's going to use the tight end. However, what can you get for him? Because you got to start paying people next year. You got to pay Drake. You're still going to have to eventually pay Bijan. You're getting ready to come up on this. My thing is, do you want to give him market value money for piss poor production and hope that he performs? Or are you going to give him an opportunity to do some things? My question is this. Is that going to be a better pick out there when it comes to his playmakers outside of Mooney and Drake? That's all I'm asking. I'm asking an honest question. Some people are going to continue to defend it. And my thing is, go right ahead. It's all good. All I'm saying is, when you draft a player that's that high, you need to get something out of it. We haven't really got much out of it. Let's be honest, folks. Everybody's hoping for him to be a guy. Oh, well, he got to be used. He's got to be this. All I'm going to say is this. Brock Bowers did it. Yeah, I bring it up, and I don't care. Brock Bowers did it as a rookie and broke Mike Ditka's record as a rookie. Also broke the reception record that was set by Puka Nacua. So when you sit back and you pay attention to this, the question is, what type of value could you get for him? Would you take? Because right now, let's be honest, we already know they pretty much would try to fleece us for a 4th or 5th round pick for this dude because of the production that's been put up. The question, does the offer pay here and let him walk for free next year if he doesn't perform? Or do you try to get something for him? Because, again, this is a business. We need to have dividends paid. We drafted him that high. Why let him walk for free and you can trade and get something for him? That's my question. Most people don't want to hear that, but it's just true. What can you get? What are you going to do? Are you going to produce? Because if he doesn't produce, are you stuck? That's all I'm asking. Is he going to produce? Because if he doesn't produce, we're stuck with letting him walk and becoming a true free agent at that point. That's all I'm saying. And shout out to my guy Andre Shroom. Got to chat up. I'm sitting here going 1,000,000 miles a minute. Y'all got to forgive me on that. You guys got to check him out. He does his thing with college football, no scholarship. Please, please, please tune into him. He and his crew, they do a fabulous job on not just SEC and pretty much his Alabama Crimson Tide. They talk about everybody under the sun that actually plays college football, and they break games down. They break players down. They do a hell of a job over there. So shout out to my guy, Andre. He's over in Germany doing his thing and showing love over here to America. So I appreciate you sharing the stream, brother. Thank you, my guy. But getting back to it, I'm getting ready to share a link. So if you want to tap in and you want to come into the chat and we can chop it up or whatnot, we definitely can. So I'm putting this out here for you guys. There's a link on YouTube. There's a link that's getting ready to be posted on X. All I'm saying at this point, what do we get for him? I think that I'll say this. I think that we really need to consider it. But if we don't consider it, we got to ride out with him. But if the production is not there this year, we're going to really look foolish because that's a draft pick that just might have not worked out. My thing is, I'm all about getting something for something. Right now, we're not getting dividends off of it. So if you feel as if he's going to perform and you have high expectations, I respect it. But we have to deal in reality. You've had opportunities. It's not like he hasn't had opportunities. So please don't say that because we've seen tape. Tape does not lie. But there are people that are still defending that, but it's okay. He has the potential to be a great tight end. That I am going to say. However, if you're not putting effort out there, it doesn't mean a hill of beans. It doesn't mean a hill of beans. You know, we need you in the red zone. We need you to be in a situation to where we can use you. But we've seen a lot of drops. Hell, he calls Michael Penix his first pick. Let that sink in against the Giants. Ball was right there on him. We've seen ball passes put on him, and he drops them. Now, I'm not going to take away from him because if he's getting thrown to a lot more, maybe he holds on to the ball a little bit better. That is something that also has your receivers and your pass catchers have to get in a rhythm with catching the football. He's never really had a rhythm, to be honest. And I'm going to play devil's advocate on here. I want some for him. But if we keep him, I'll point this out. We've had bad quarterback play. I get it. Drake London has improved pretty much every year that he's been here since he's been in the league. Look at the numbers. Drake's numbers have gone up every year with all these different quarterbacks as well. So my question is, Arthur Smith literally, ran the ball into the ground. That's what he does. But he was supposed to be a tight end whisperer. Jonnu Smith came in and had better numbers than Kyle when he was here. Now, I will say this. Kyle Pitts has also made some incredible catches and made some of these horrible quarterbacks look great by catching uncatchable passes. The guy has range. That is something you can't take away from Kyle. He has range. Now, consistency is the thing that we need. I don't need flashes and little flickers. It's like a Roman candle. It only lights for a little bit and flickers out. So we got to look at it from a standpoint of we need production. We need consistency from that position. If we're not getting the consistency from that position, how long do we hold out, folks? Y'all can answer this in the chat, or you can come in and holler at me, because I just want to know. It's just an honest question, and I think it's fair. Most people say it's not fair, but let's be real. You're drafted fourth overall as a first-round pick, and you haven't lived up to that moniker. Regardless of the situation, regardless of this or that, and I understand schemes and systems, you still, regardless of what happened, you still haven't lived up to it. Most people aren't going to like to hear that, but it's just the truth. Yes, we understand quarterback play is major. Yes, we understand coaching has a lot to do with it. However, when you've had opportunities, you've been up and inconsistent. And that's what I mean by consistency. Let's just be real on this, man. And I'm a historian for a reason. We talk about it. One Hall of Fame receiver started off as a tight end man by the name of Mr. Harold Carmichael. Shout out to the Philadelphia Eagle legend, Jacksonville, Florida legend out of Raines High School that produces a ton of NFL talent out of that school. He was one of the first ones to come up out of there. But if you look at it, in the beginning of his career, they just didn't use him right. They started him off wrong. You're talking about the tallest receiver, 6'8". That's Harold Carmichael, 6'8", and was a tight end. Was good at it, but when he was switched, once they had coaching changes and they put him at receiver, he literally became a dangerous weapon in that offense. And once he moved on from Roman Gabriel and so many other different quarterbacks that he had, he ended up getting Ron Jaworski, the Dutch rifleman. Ron he and Ron led the Eagles to a Super Bowl with Wilbur Montgomery, Vince Papale, and those guys. He literally used better in a scheme where he was standing up. Maybe we take Kyle Pitts out of the scheme of him being a tight end. Maybe you use him as a wide receiver at this point, but he's not going to get wide receiver money because he was drafted as a tight end. But maybe you have to use him in that scheme. No, he's not a great route runner. We all know this. He's a strider. That's where his speed is. He's a long strider. Now, the way that you could also use him, red zone. Put him in the red zone. Let him go up for 50-50 passes because he's a size mismatch for out of safeties and corners in the league that are under 6 feet. My thing is this. We have a basketball team at wide receiver. Drake London, Darnell Mooney, Pitts is a pass catcher. Ray is undersized, but he'll go get it. But my thing is, we have tall wide receivers. The question is, can Zach Robinson increase our red zone production this year with those tall receivers? That's what I'm looking at. We have to use our quarterback in plays to where he can use his receivers for size. Use mismatches. If you're not going to run the ball in the red zone, guess what? You got tall and big bodies that can definitely play basketball when it comes to shielding off defenders, when it comes to Penix throwing to the end zone. That is something that you have to equate for. Now, everybody talks about the potential. A lot of people say, oh, well, Simon's not ready. I want to go with a trusted commodity. But how is it a trusted commodity when this commodity does not perform? Answer that for me. Y'all can answer it in the chat, or you can come in here because I laid the link down. How can you be a proven commodity when you still haven't proven anything? I've seen fellow content creators. I've seen people to say that. Hell, Steve Weiss even came in here on the show and talked about this the last time he was here when we spoke on it. He even said it himself. If Kyle doesn't perform this year, Kyle's not 9 times out of 10 gone. Or it could possibly be if the Falcons get the right offer, maybe you trade him off and you let Josh Simon develop into that tight end, because Simon definitely is a game breaker. Film don't lie. The eye in the sky don't lie. When you got a football player that definitely can ball, he can ball. Don't look at the fact that they're undrafted free agents, because here's the thing. We have people raving about Kobe Bryant. People are raving about Kobe. A shutdown corner. He's doing this. He's doing that. John Hyman make OA too. They trying to keep that quiet because they don't want to up everybody on their side, because they're still trying to support that first round guy. We get it. But damn it, Simon is a guy that's a ball player. You can't take that away from the guy. He's one of those guys that can produce, and he can definitely help in all facets of the game. He can blocking. He can also catch. He's also taking end arounds, great speed. If you really want to be honest, the kid can ball. But the thing is, he's got to make it on the special team side of things, which I understand this. That's all the undrafted free agents that's coming through. They all have to make it. Now, we already know that's going to happen because the kid was playing special teams in South Carolina. That's not a problem. I know that he's going to make it. The question is, how does he get into the rotation in that tight end room? Do they give him an opportunity this year, or do they solely focus on making Pitts this guy that he's supposed to be in our franchise? That's my question that I have, because, again, world of potential still untapped. How long do you go for it being untapped? Or does he ball out this year, gets his contract, and forgets how to play football? Because we've had a couple of players that have forgotten how to play football, or they've been in a situation where they've gotten their money and they just don't produce anymore. That's my question. We've seen this. Devontae Freeman is a prime example of that. Held out, got his money. Outside of the injuries, Free really didn't produce after that Super Bowl. Let's be honest, folks. He didn't produce like he did the year of 2016. He was inconsistent. Once he got his money, pretty much disappeared. You look at Vic Beasley, potential to be a great pass rusher. I'm just throwing this in. I'm mixing this in with money, or just a guy that was supposed to be there, first round pick. 16 sacks in the season, 17 sacks in the season. The year we go to the Super Bowl. After that, vanishes. Now, they tried to use him in coverage and different things, but he was normally an edge rusher. But it was too late by that time. He definitely was a guy that got to a point to where he couldn't push a biscuit off a plate with a hot fork if you gave it to him. True. Now, when you sit back and you think about it, we've had a lot of first-round picks that have had potential that have not lived up to it. Keanu O'Neal, Pro Bowler, solid player, but didn't finish with us. Injury prone. Yes, it's part of the game, but here's the thing: your best ability is availability. And if you're not producing, it doesn't matter. You're no good to anybody. So again, you have a guy that was bounced around from team to team because of injuries, outside of injuries, inconsistency. That's all I'm getting at, folks. I need consistency as a Falcons fan, content creator. We're just saying consistency. That's my thing. A lot of folks don't want to hear that because they go off of, okay, well, he's got these numbers. Okay, that's good. What is he going to do now? That's my question for you guys, because I go back and forth with my folks in the crew. We go back and forth about Kyle Pitts and a few other players. But the one thing they can't argue, it ain't consistent. That's my whole thing. Consistency has to be the key. If there's no consistency, you don't have a key to unlock your offense. You don't have a key to unlock the potential of what you can do. That's the whole thing I'm getting at. I still believe that the kid has talent, But the problem with that is we can't just believe. We have to see it. You have to see it with your own eyes. You have to be in a position to understand that this team is not a bad team. We have a playoff caliber team. The question is this: can we be competent enough to put this guy in a position to produce for us at a high level? That's all we need to know. Because if they can get it out of him this year, cool. Give him his money, fine. He's in the system. Then we can say it was all Arthur Smith's fault. And we'll all go back, and especially myself, I'll go back and say, hell, I was wrong. But until that's proven, I'm going to continue to keep standing on what I'm saying right now. Period. I'm okay with being wrong. I'm okay with coming back saying that I actually misevaluated the situation. I'm okay with saying, you know what? I was wrong about this. You guys were right about this here, about Pitts, blah, 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 blah. It's okay. That's the joys of this. Nobody is harmless. All it is great banner, great debate, and this is what we do. This is what keeps it interesting. However, you can't continue to pray and hope that a guy can matriculate and he doesn't put any effort out there. Part of matriculation and growing is called effort. You put effort into what you're doing. And I'm not talking about just in the offseason when you're lifting weights, you're running routes. We're talking about when you're in the game and you're not getting the opportunities that you feel as if you should get. Are you going to still give that same effort to be a team player, or are you just going to pout like a selfish child? Everybody can't take the shot. Everybody can't take the last game winning shot. Just works that way. Everybody's not going to be able to score the final touchdown. You just have to play your role. Now, the body language, hopefully that changes this year. Hopefully the mental changes this year, because the kid has the physical tools to be a great player. But if he's not good up here and his attitude is piss poor, what the hell are we doing? That's my question. The hell are we doing? There's a ton of talent that this guy has not tapped into yet, but he's got to just change a few things. But as I said before, getting into a position to where we could possibly trade this dude and get something for him, it's not bad, because you're getting something back for something that didn't happen. He's a one-time Pro Bowler. Some guys don't ever get that in their career, and he definitely did his thing with Matt Ryan. But we have to see what he does with Penix, or if you don't want to see or if the front office wants to go differently in a different direction, get some picks. Get some picks. Because remember, we've given up picks. We've lost picks. We've put ourselves in a situation to where, like I said, Rams got a number one pick from us because we traded up. We got to see how this thing with Pierce works out. So at this point, you try to load up on as many picks, because if you guys pay attention, the Atlanta Falcons are great at mid-round picks. We always hit on mid-round picks. It has always been that way. It never fails. There are some first-round picks that we've hit on too, but if you look at the history of this franchise, we have always done well with mid-round picks and guys that most people don't think anything of, or guys that get overlooked. Just saying. It's a lot of talent in this building right now. The question that I have for Mr. Pitts is, are you going to compete? Or are you going to look for an easy way out? And if things don't go your way, are you going to blame? Are you going to blame anybody else? All I'm saying is, at this point, I get what everybody is saying, but here's my thing. You're saying that you guys don't want, and shout out to my guy, Ant. You guys are saying that you guys don't want, you wouldn't mind, we got to find a replacement. You're not letting a guy that's been in the NFL, that's played on the championship caliber team, take over and give him an opportunity, because he definitely wasn't bad in Frisco. And then you got an undrafted free agent that's coming in and really can ball. But we also got an undrafted free agency at corner and a defensive lineman that you guys don't mind trying out. I need y'all to make this make sense for me. We got Simeon Barrow. You got Kobe Bryant. We've all been talking about those guys getting into the rotation and starting. What's the difference with a tight end that's an undrafted free agent that can play and was actually a very good tight end in the SEC, really, just played for a bad team that actually, I'm sorry, I'm not even going to say they were bad. Last year they were good. The year before that they were bad. However, you're talking about a guy who's played against NFL competition week in and week out and that performed and set some records at Carolina for the tight end spot. And we already know that there's been some good tight ends that have come up out of it. Jared Cook comes to mind. Remember, he used to cook us all the time when he ended up playing for the Saints, as much as I hate to reminisce on that. But you got a guy who was trusted by Lenora Sellers and was trusted in an offense that was really on shaky grounds. And he was one of the most consistent players in that offense that produced after he came in from Western Kentucky. So all I'm saying is, if we're willing to give a corner a chance to make special teams, to try to get in here, and we're willing to let a defensive lineman who was an undrafted free agent come in here and do some things, it should be the same across the board with a tight end that was also producing as well. That's just me. I'm just straight down the middle. I'm just saying. For me, I feel as if we don't have that same energy for a couple of undrafted free agents, let's have that same energy for pretty much the best players on this team, regardless of where they come from, regardless of what their position is. I know I'm going to get laughed at. I know I'm going to get clowned about it. I don't give a damn. My opinion, this is just what I'm speaking on, just like you're having yours. I look at it from that standpoint of keep it straight all the way across the board. Let the best player play. And if they can help this team win ball games, shoot. Forgive me for that. That came out. Was not supposed to say that. Y'all forgive me for that. Let's just be honest, man. You have to play to win the game. I understand contracts. I understand money. You're going to try to get the best out of it. But if your money guy is not producing, you got to put it in the hands of somebody else. Just saying. Well, I didn't really want too much of your time today. I see no one had the link up and ready for you guys to come in, man. I definitely appreciate you guys for tuning in. We definitely got a show for you on Thursday, but this was something that just happened. And it's a hypothetical. Pissy here said before, what would you do if you got to trade him? What would you want for him? Would you trade him? Would you let him stay here? The question varies. So we're definitely going to have another great show coming up Thursday. We're going to talk about this with the Magnificent Birdcage crew. But because of the fact that this news dropped about the Dolphins and the Steelers having pretty much swapping trades, there's a spot that's open for that tight end spot down in Miami. Are they going to blow it up? Or are they actually going to try to find somebody to fit their offense? Because right now, Pitts is a cheap option right now. They literally just got rid of Jonnu Smith. Jonnu just signed a deal for 1 year for $12 million with the Steelers. So we'll definitely see that. So we appreciate you for coming through. Hey, y'all know how we say it. You either get right or you get left. Shout out to the Magnificent Birdcage crew. And once again, happy birthday to the Atlanta Falcons. Number 60, let's make this thing right this year and at least compete for a championship. It's your boy, the Historian, Ghost.